Yeah, this is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Just a quick podcast. And your name is?
My name's John Dugan.
Tell me about you. Tell me about everything about you from a child.
I'm from Hazelmere, High Wycombe. I've come from pretty good background. My dad was an air traffic controller at Heathrow Airport for 40 years. My mum was a dinner lady and a brown owl leader. I have a older sister and a younger brother. My sister looks after kids with special needs in a school in Cheshire, and my brother is a plumber, and I'm a painter and decorator. So I was brought up in Hazelmere, like just typical kid really, just hanging around, always outside, had woods behind the house, so I was always hanging around in the woods. I had a really good upbringing, to be honest with you. Both my parents are still married. They've been married for 50 years now, so they've been married a long time. I'm sort of here to talk about my situation with being alienated from my...
What school did you go to?
I went to Sir William Ramsay. It was an alright school, typical secondary
Any problems at school? Nothing at school?
I had a bit of learning difficulties. It was a little bit sort of... It took me a while to get things into my brain. I was quite popular at school. Had a lot of friends. I've always been quite popular. I've always got on with people. So had a normal childhood. Teenager, was a typical teenager. Went out with my mates, drinking, smoking, got into drugs. Unfortunately.
You got off it now, drugs?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. Obviously, I have a bit of a drink here and there.
But you're a good dad, aren't you?
Yeah. I love my kids. Like I brought my stepdaughter. I brought her under my wing. She was 3 months old when I would come into her life, or she come into mine.
So how did you meet your girl? Tell us about your girlfriend.
My ex-partner was actually a friend of mine for 20 years, and she'd been with a previous friend of mine, and then they broke up, and then sort of I didn't see her for a while, and then one day I got back in contact with her, and then we just started hanging around, and then we got together. Everything was going quite well for a couple of years, I'd say. We had a child together.
Boy, girl?
Boy.
Okay.
And then social services come in.
How is your son? Is he okay?
He's 6 years old. He does have autism.
Okay. Has it been half year that or?
It was. Yeah. It was. You could tell straight away he was different. He was all over the place, his energy levels. So he would wake up at 7 a.m. and go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he would be like that every single day. So you can imagine, like, as a parent, like you're going to sleep when he goes to sleep. So then you've got to get back up at 7. So you're getting 4 hours sleep if you're lucky at night. And then it starts all over again. My stepdaughter, she didn't have any problems.
Yeah, that's your girlfriend's little girl.
Yeah. So my stepdaughter, she had no problems at all. She's a proper bright little button. Loves art, loves creating stuff. She was great. She actually helped me because when I broke up with a previous partner, then I started hanging around my ex. Melody come into my life. I was going a little bit backwards with my life. I was started to drink more, and then Melody come in, and then I sorted my life out. I literally stopped all that stuff. I had to, because obviously with a child in your life, you shouldn't really be doing things like that. So I sorted my life out, carried on doing what I was doing.
Always a job?
Yeah, I've always worked. I've literally, I left school.
Good money getter? Good money, you get money for the family?
Yeah, well, at first I was working, and then my ex-partner, she's got bad mental health, and she was suffering after she gave birth to our child. She didn't cope very well.
My
little boy.
Your little boy, yeah. Okay.
So then I had to actually leave work to look after both the kids.
Really?
Yeah. So I did that for 6 years.
And look after her as well, yeah?
Yeah. So I did that for 6 years.
That's good.
I did all the school runs, the doctors, hospital appointments, play dates. My family stepped in.
Swimming?
Yeah, everything, park, all that stuff, So if my mum and dad every Sunday would go around theirs with the kids. Something like my sister would go around there because my stepdaughter and my son, they absolutely love my sister. Like literally, my sister used to take.
What about your mum and dad? They love the kids?
Oh, my stepdaughter, she absolutely was besotted with my mum. Like they used to go out, they used to do hairdressing together, they used to go like shopping together, they used to go to the zoo, they used to go all over the place. And Melody, if you said to my stepdaughter, you're going to go and see Granny tomorrow, she would be so excited. She would be like over the moon. Her face would light up because she
just
was
talk
like,
to the camera about your life now. Come on.
yeah. So I
Not
was
too far forward.
I was in a relationship with my ex for 6-7 years, and
what sort of money did you bring home, John? From
I was on about 1,600 a month when I was gardening, and then obviously but then if I did overtime I would bring a bit more in. But she where my ex couldn't cope anymore, so she's basically asked me to come and look after the kids, so I've had to stop work. And then,
do you get any money for the boy being autistic or what?
Well, unfortunately, the system is you've got to get diagnosed. Now, it takes years. Like literally, you'll go into a hospital and you'll be pushed from pillar to post. Some doctors will say, no, there's nothing wrong with him. Other doctors will be like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with him. It took, what was he? Started getting tested when he was about 3, 4, and he was about 6 when he got diagnosed. About 5.5 when he got diagnosed, and then they put him on melatonin to help with his sleep, which was great. That worked really, really well, melatonin. Any parents out there with children with ADHD, you can actually get melatonin online. I recommend you get it if you've got a child like that. So obviously I fought tooth and nail to get all the diagnosis for my son. I did pretty much 90% of the kids stuff. So I got up every morning, 7 o'clock on the dot, got them both.
Was your boy clean? Was he clean? Did you have to change the nappies or what? Anything like that?
I had to change the nappies. I had to do all the.
What age did you stop that, John?
Well, he's only just come out of nappies because of autism. Yeah. I haven't actually seen him since January, so I've been told through other people that he's now using a potty and he's talking. I haven't actually seen this myself. I haven't actually even heard his voice. The last time I heard his voice was when he said "Dad," and that was back in January. It's been pretty tough because you basically, I'm a backseat parent. 1 minute I was doing everything, and then all of a sudden I was just kicked out, gone, and then.
Tell us how this all happened, John. Tell us how all this happened, that you was pushed aside, and how did it happen? What age was your child? What age was you?
This was last year, so I was 39.
But you've always had this trouble, haven't you? You've been off and back and forth, haven't you?
Yeah. I was 30 when we officially broke up. I was 39. My son was 5. Things just got a bit. I don't know. It was a lot of pressure on our relationship due to social services being in and out of our lives. The mental health side of things with my ex-partner. She was going through a lot of personal stuff. It was very stressful. It was very stressful. But in a way, I wish I'd walked away years ago. But in another way, if I would have done that, I think it might have ended a lot more worse with the kids. They probably would have gone into care. I'm not being funny, but since I've come out of that relationship, social have come back 3 times. So that's not a very good sign.
Tell us about what sort of dad you've been with the 2 kids, taking them to where I used to watch you on Facebook with the pigs and the sheep and all the ducks and quackers and.
I shut a farm down in Hazelmere.
How long for was you in there for?
I was only there for. It was only about 8 months, but I got access to the kids. So that was October to January. I had access to the children, and I used to have to look after the pigs, the ducks, the chickens, and I used to take the kids with me to shut the farm down, like put everything away, and they used to love it. There was a giant pig up there called Bernard Roy. He's the most friendliest pig you'll ever meet in your life. And yeah, the kids, you can imagine taking kids up onto a farm with all these animals. You can imagine they were just like, kids don't experience that. You know, there's not many kids that can say, "Oh yeah, I went to a farm with my dad."
Did you have to take them back home, or did you keep them?
Yeah, I had to take them back home.
Why?
Because that's where they were living at the time. Obviously, all their stuff was there. The school was round the corner from my stepdaughter. My son, he's going to a school, but he gets a taxi every morning.
Because I thought that was your farm at first. I thought it was
no, unfortunately not. I wish it was. Wow. The farm actually is behind my parents' house, so it's something that we've always seen. It's pretty much been a big part of my life. And then some friends of mine took over the farm, and then they lost the farm because of the coronavirus, and then they asked me to help shut it down. So that's what I did. But I used to take the kids there. We used to go to I used to take the kids to my mum and dad's every Sunday when I could have them, and we'd do play dates, we'd do picnics, we'd do tea parties, Lego building, you know.
Okay, you go through a lot. Now tell us why you're here. Tell people
I'm
why
here
you're
to
here.
explain that the experience I've had over the past 10 months is that there is no support out there for parents that are being alienated. There's no charities. There's nothing out there that can turn around and say, "Oh, we can help you get access. We can fund you with this. We can." Literally, there's so many people that will say they can help you, but then when it actually comes to it, they don't. So you get all your hopes built up, and you think, "Oh, I'm going to go and see my kids. I'm going to see my kids," and then literally 3 weeks later, you're back to stage one, and then you're losing your mind. I mean, I've had my reoccurring dream at the minute is seeing my son running away scared, and I'm chasing him. And it wasn't until the other day that I suddenly realised that he's scared of me. That's what I'm dreaming about. And it's the stuff that goes through your head, being an alienated parent. You're thinking, does my child think I've abandoned them? Does my child still love me? Does he think I love him? You know, it's horrible. Like, I've managed to land on my feet with a pretty good job at the minute, painting and decorating, thanks to my pastor's son. And
you got a church, yeah?
I used to be part of a charity called Fresh Hope. And
what is that?
It basically, so as you can imagine, like all the supermarkets around this country, they get like fruit and veg in, they get cakes, bread, etc. Then they throw it away when it starts when it's coming to the sell-by date. Well, as the church used to go around to all the supermarkets in Wickham, pick up all the food that they were going to throw away, and then we'd give it out to people that couldn't afford food, because there was still 3-4 days left on the food. There was nothing wrong with it. And I used to go around picking up the food from the supermarkets and set it all up on tables, and then families would come in and take what they needed. So like the kids got
charity,
their food. Yeah, Fresh Hope.
You're saying that charities don't help you?
I mean,
it's a church charity, yeah.
Yeah, but that was a food bank charity.
Okay.
But I've spoken to other charities recently, and everyone just says the same thing. They say you've got to take it to court. But the only way.
Why? Explain to these people, why have you got to take this to court? What reasons you've got to take these kids to court? Or take you to court?
The reason you've got to take it to court is to get access to your child.
Explain.
But it's ridiculous. I mean, I've spoken to 250 dads over the past 11 months, and out of 250 dads, say 50 of them have got access to their kids. The other 200 have lost, and they've spent money, like they've lost like their jobs because they've had to leave their job because of stress, whatever, and then they've gone all through the court process, and then then the judges turn around and sided with the mother and said, "No, we're not interested. You can't see the kid." A friend of mine, I did the documentary with, Fathers Have Rights Too. It's on YouTube. He went to court recently. 2 years he's been in court.
Is that yours, Fathers Have Rights? Is that yours? Actually yours?
My mate, well, it was Nathaniel Diamond actually created it.
Okay.
And then he's my old neighbour, so he's asked me to jump on it. But he went to court, and the judge sided with the mother.
Can anybody help you with this charity? Is it a charity?
Well, no, it's just a thing that we put together just to spread awareness.
Okay.
Basically, but so Nathaniel went to court, and He's been in and out of court for years, and then recently they sided with the mother, and they've basically turned around to Nathaniel. The mother's turned around and said that Nathaniel had mentioned her name through the documentary, which none of us mentioned any of the partners' names or ex-partners' names. And the judge turned around and said, take it down now or you go to jail. And he said, watch the documentary, her name's not on it. And the judge said no. Now, everyone in that courtroom was female. Solicitors, women's aid, judge, they're all female. As soon as that woman started crying, it got shut down. It got shut down out of the kid's life. So he's now got a 2-year thing where he can't see his kids. So he's already not seen his kids for 2 years. He's got another 2 years on top of that. So that's 4 years altogether. And this is what scares me. People keep saying, take it to court, take it to court. And I'm like, the amount of horror stories I've heard of court, I don't know if I want to take it to court. I don't know if I want to risk it. You've got to spend, 2 years going to court, like every other week. And then there's a massive risk that it's just going to get sided with the mother, and then I'm going to lose everything and never see my kids till they're 18.
Have they offered you anything, John? Have they offered you anything at all?
No. Social services offered to help me see the children, and then like a week later they turned around and said, oh no, sorry, we can't do that. You have to go take it to court. Even though I explained, I've just gone back to work. I've got no money. I'm training to be a painter and decorator. I don't earn a lot of money at the minute. If I did, I'd be in court, but I don't. And so, yeah, it's not pocket change to take it to court. I mean, all the people I've spoken to that have won the cases.
You can't get legal aid, no?
No, they don't do legal aid. They don't do it no more. I think they only do it if you're on benefits, which means I'd have to leave work.
No, for sure.
If I left work, that means I'd be sat at home staring at the TV all day. And with everything that's going through my mind, it wouldn't be a good idea. I need to be active. I need to be constantly doing something just to keep my mind off.
How do you feel when you have to maybe drive near to where children are?
Does
it happen to you quite a lot?
back in when was it? March. I was driving through the village where my kids live, and I see my ex and both the kids. So I pulled over, I jumped out the car, and I said, hello kids. And then I got a mouthful of abuse, told to F off, stay away from the kids. So I got back in the car, drove off. 10 days later, my mum and dad rang me up. They said, John, what have you done? I said, what do you mean? They said, the police are here. They want to speak to you. And I was like, I don't know, I've done nothing. And I went to Wickham police station. 2 coppers come running out the door, grabbed me, put me in cuffs, and they arrested me for stalking, all because I said hello to my kids. They took my phone off me for a month. I was on bail for a month. All charges dropped, no evidence. What happened was my good mate of mine, Nibs, I told him what had happened that night when it happened, because I was around his house. So when the police had me in the cell and I told them that he knew the story, they rang my mate, and my mate, for word, said exactly what I'd said in the interview. And they went, well, hang on a minute, they couldn't have done that story. Do you see what I mean? Like, he's in a cell, he's at home. How could they have got the same story? So that's when they were sort of like, oh, this doesn't make sense what she's saying. And then what I was saying made sense. The whole system, the whole thing with the courts, it is corrupt.
What about this law that I asked you to look at? Cinderella's law.
Cinderella law, yeah. I'm still looking into it.
Is it Cinderella's law or Cinderella? What is it? Cinderella or Cinderella?
Cinderella, wasn't it?
Yeah, Cinderella law.
I'm still looking into that. But yeah, I mean, there's some law called Cinderella law. It's about mental abuse on children, which alienation, like when you're kept away from a child, that is a form of abuse, because that child is probably going to think it's done something wrong. It's not loved.
Needs to see dad. Dad's a big part of kids' lives.
Yeah, of course. And I've always said this as well. Like, even if the dad isn't the most law-abiding citizen, like, at the end of the day, all kids should see their dads. It doesn't matter, like, if the bloke's been a bit nasty, had a bad past, whatever. We've all got past. We've all done.
You've got rights as well, surely.
Yeah, well, we should have rights, but we don't seem to. It's almost like as soon as you have a child with someone, they can then just take that child away and just do what they want. And then if you like, I've had death threats. I've had people like say all kinds of stuff about me. I'll ring the police and say, oh, I've been threatened by this person, and they go, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. But as soon as she rings the police and says he's just driven past me, I'm in a cell for 5 hours. That's how it is. I'm now like literally, I drive through my old village, and I see my ex, and I'm like, turn down the next road just to get out of sight because I'm too scared that like I'm going to end up being put in a cell because I've driven down the road.
So what would you like? Do you like a bit of help? Do you think people can help you?
I would love some help, but what I'd love to do is spread awareness and help others as much as I possibly can, because we've all got to help each other.
There must be dads out there now listening.
And you know, I just want to help. I want to change what's going on with this, because.
Would you like to would you like to start some sort of charity up?
I would love to.
What would you call it? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to have a think about that. But you know, no, I would love to get involved with something like that, because
there might be someone exactly the same as you're talking now.
Yeah.
That might want to do the same thing.
Well, if there is anyone out there that's interested in maybe trying to start some kind of support system up for dads, even mums. There's mums out there as well. It's not just dads that this happened to. I've got a friend called Jade, and she was being kept away from her daughter, and the baby father was saying to her, "Oh, if you get back with me, you can see your daughter." But that's what he was doing. So it's like, you know, and I've spoken to not many, but I'd say about 6 or 7 mums over the past, say, 6 months that have said to me, "This is what's happening to us. Like we've been kept from our child." So it's not just dads. I do get that, but it seems to be happens more to dads. You know, because it's that stigma of like in a relationship, and the man and the woman break up, the woman keeps the kids, the man just goes off and gets on with his life. But that's not, sometimes the man doesn't just want to do that. The man wants to still be part of the child's life, but I can see why men give up, because it's not easy. You're literally battling stress, you're battling depression, you're trying to find the money to get it for court. You've got to pay child maintenance as well, even when you're being alienated from your kid. I think that's not right. Like, surely if you're not seeing that kid, why are you paying for it? Like, you're probably, if you're paying money for that kid, your ex has got a new boyfriend who's probably spending that money on himself. You know, like, it's not fair. What
about these centres they sometimes take kids to, drop the kids off and you can pick them up?
Yeah, there's a few around, but they're very sort of picky, because the problem we have is where, like, my ex has said that she wants me to see the child, but it has to be, what's it called?
A care centre?
Yeah, in the care centre bit, it's got to be supervised contact. So it has to be someone watching.
Someone goes with you?
Well, it has to be a professional or someone to watch and make sure that I'm not saying to my son or my daughter or whatever, "Oh, your mum this, your mum that," because obviously, you know, some dads...
Oh, some that do it, for sure.
So, and do you know what I've said? I will do contact.
Surely there's mums that do it too.
Yeah,
with
of course.
Their kids and say, look, you know, when they get their kids back from dad.
Yeah.
Must be saying,
yeah, definitely. I've heard lots of stories where, like, so the child has been dropped back off to the mum, and then the mum's sort of like fishing information out. What did dad say? What did dad say? And then literally the kid's gone back a few weeks later to go see the dad and said, "Oh, mummy was asking me about this, and mummy was asking me about that." So yeah, you know, and kids as well. Their minds are like sponges. So if the parent is sat there slagging off the other parent, they're going to take that in.
Yeah, it affects those kids. Yeah,
and if they're going to then think, is my dad or is my mum really that bad? Because mum or dad keeps saying that they did this, they said that.
Did you have to argue in front of the kids, John? Everyone does it, don't they?
Yeah, of course. It's not. It can't be helped sometimes. You know, it's all part of life. I mean,
Did you ever swear? Did you ever swear in front of the kids?
Yeah, unfortunately I've got a bit of a mouth like a trucker, but like, you know, you try not to as much as you can, and when you do swear, you always explain to the child, you know, you shouldn't say that word. It's a rude word. I was quite lucky, really. My kids never repeated like anything, not that I know of anyway. But
my nan used to swear at us all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we swear at mum.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think the generation now is a lot more worse. Like, I mean, kids are bringing up kids now. That's how I see it.
For sure.
You're getting girls that are 16 having babies, like, literally, and then they're not even an adult. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, 10 years later, that kid is 10, that girl's 26. She hasn't lived a life.
Does your ex-wife or your ex-girlfriend, does she cook for the kids or does she buy takeaways?
Yeah, she used to cook. I won't deny that. She was quite into the 5 a day thing as well. She always tried to fruit and veg and all that, and which was very difficult with my son because with autism they can be very picky. So you've got to find something that they like, and once you find something that they like, then they will literally eat it. But then you've got to try and not give it to them all the time, otherwise they get too used to just eating that one thing. But yeah.
How much do you miss your kids, John? How much do you miss your kids? Seriously, how much do you miss your kids? What's they doing to you?
Literally, I've been up and down. I can't sleep. I'm so blessed.
The daydreams, John?
Like the nightmares of my son. I'm really blessed. I've got a lot of good friends out there. A lot of good Facebook followers. People check up on me. You know, so I'm really lucky with that. I mean, if there was anyone out there that's dealing with this on their own, well, if you can find me on Facebook, John Dugani, just look me up and talk to me.
How do you spell it? How do you spell the name?
It's JohnDugani. Yeah, so if anyone out there needs to talk, like, get hold of me on Facebook, or maybe get hold of Ray, and Ray can forward you on to me. Yeah, I mean, it's that bad. There's no support out there. The mental health side of things as well. You know, you ring them up and then you've got to wait 6 weeks to get an appointment, which within the 6 weeks you're literally your brain's going all over the place. You're thinking of your kids constantly. It's like people say to me, try not to think of your son, and it's like I wish I had a button where I could just, and then I'd just get on with my day.
You're a good dad, aren't you, mate? You're a good dad.
No, I try. You know, there's no such thing as a perfect parent, but I try my hardest. And this, not seeing my son, it's been 11 months now. I mean, I'm speaking to like Jamie Bennett, and he's saying he hasn't seen his daughter for 2 years. I don't know how we got through that. I mean, 11 months.
And they live just.
And but then it's the same
far away. Okay.
I'm literally 4 or 5 miles away from my son.
Wow.
My best mates live in that village where he is, and I drive through, and sometimes I just think, if I see him now, I just want to go up to him and just cuddle him. But then I'm worried that if I see him and I do that, am I suddenly going to get the police banging on my door and arresting me for trying to cuddle my son? Because that's how it is. They're just,
There must be some law that tells you that you can see your kids, John.
There isn't. There's nothing like it's. And if there is a law, which there might be, but it's being hidden, like most of these laws are. You know, the most. It seems that the important ones that we need to know about, we don't get told. We have to research it all, like what you sent me the other day.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's there is no law out there. There's no law to stop a parent from keeping a child away from you. The only thing you get told is.
Tell me what gives women the rights to see their children more so than a man? Tell me that. Why are they telling you that she's got more rights than what you have?
Well, they shouldn't do.
But why? They must be saying to you, well, she's got more rights to see the children than what you have. Why?
Honestly, I don't know, Ray. It's like, we should have equal rights. We're both made that child. We should both be able to see that child when we want. So I get that, you know, obviously my son goes to school 5 days a week. I wouldn't be able to go and pick him up like late in the evening because he's got school next day. So it'd be like a weekend thing. I would love to have my son Friday till Sunday. I'd do that every weekend if I got the opportunity. But I've been labelled everything under the sun from my ex and her friend. Apparently I've abused the kids. I'm a paedophile. I've been arrested twice in 10 months. I've hardly ever get arrested. Like literally the last time I got arrested before April was 31st of October 2008, when I got caught with 2 lines of ketamine on me because I was at a rave. That was the last time I got arrested, 2008. So like I said, I'm not a...
Yeah, what I like about you, John, is you don't lie. You always tell the truth as it is, yeah? I mean, there's not many people on the YouTube would say that they've tried to... My girlfriend says I'm a paedophile, I'm this, I'm that. No one would mention that word. No one would mention that, you know what I mean? But you come out of it because it is what it is, you know. This is what she's throwing at you, you know what I mean? Yeah. There isn't many people who do that, mate.
Yeah. Well, it's not, obviously... I was mortified when she was going around saying, John's a paedophile, he did this, he did that. And then obviously I was worried about my family. Like, are my mum and dad going to get attacked? Is my sisters, my brother, am I going to be walking down the road and get a brick over the back of my head? Because there's not many people out there that would...
Why would she call you a paedophile, John? Why
keep me away from the kids, that's what I think it was, to alienate me. Because obviously once you're labelled a paedophile, then no one wants you to kids.
Standard. But no one's, I mean, you've had no contact with the police or anything like that, have you?
Never, no.
So why don't you take her to court about that? Why don't you say something?
Oh no! Well, I when she was saying a lot of this stuff, I rang the police and I told them, this is getting ridiculous.
Because I hate the police. I'm a done 20 a lot of birds. I hate the police, but in that situation, you need them to be on your side, John.
Right, so I contacted the police and I said to them about stuff that was being said, and it was all over Facebook, and they said, oh yes, it's slander, but you've got to take it to a civil court.
You have, yeah.
They said they can't do nothing about it. So she can say what she wants about me on Facebook.
Yeah, but even take you to a civil court, the police get involved with civil matters.
Yeah, well... But they said I've got to take it to court.
Because there's no point in having a civil court.
Yeah, I've got to sign.
They're the ones that get involved. They're the ones that take people to court with civil matters, because most of the divorces go to civil courts.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, they had no interest in helping me. They said to me when I rang up and I said she's doing this, she's labelling me that.
Is it because they don't think you're strong enough, John? I.e., being like short, being not, you're muscular and all that, but not being a threat. If you think you're just easygoing and you just let things go, rather than if you just took the kids and what would that mean? Do you know what I mean? Well, it's not a good thing we're saying that, but sometimes
about taking the kids. They said about you because I'm on the birth certificate for my son. They said you could just take your son, but then I've been warned that can be seen as being mentally unstable when you go and just take your son, like turn up at the house. It can look bad on you. This is what someone was saying. You've got to be careful about how you do it. Other people said, well, you could go up to you could go and collect him from the school, but again, I can't because he gets a taxi. So if I turn up at the school, hi, I'm Jeff's dad, and they've never seen me before because he started school when we broke up, then they'll probably be a bit like, oh, well, who are you? Some random guys just turned up at the school.
For doing that either, can you?
So, but yeah, I mean, the whole system, social services, the police, they definitely seem to be siding with the other parent, with the mothers. I'm sort of at a dead end. I'm trying to keep my head above water. I'm trying to, stay positive.
I think personally, you need help. You need a charity or something. On your side,
definitely
to get together and get. You need that help. So you stick together. You got money for everybody to fight the cases.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'd love to do. Yeah. I'd love to be able to make a charity that we get funded, where if there are dads out there,
must be people out there. That want that. Go on.
If there are dads out there that are, that can't get the money for courts, like there must be something out there like a charity, or I could create a charity where we could do that. We could actually get like money funded to us that we could like help dads out or mums or whoever who's being alienated. But there was nothing out there. There's literally we're just.
How many people out there would you think is out there now that not seeing their kids?
Oh,
women as well as men.
There's it's hard to say, but I mean, like I said, I've spoken to 250 in 10 months. And
that being in contact with you, John?
Yeah, been in contact with me. And 200 of them haven't seen their kids. The other 50 that took it to court, they paid around 40k, and they got to see their kids. But they've had to remortgage their house. They've had to like get a better job. They've had to get 3 jobs, you know, a week, like, to fund this, to do this. If you've got money, you see your kids. The government will literally hand you your kids. But you turn up with no money, and they'll keep it going. The court will go on for 3 years, and you're paying a solicitor. A solicitor costs about, when I spoke to one, she said it was £170 an hour. She'll charge me. I mean, I don't. £170 an hour. You know, that's a lot of money. You think you go to court, you're going to be in court for 8 hours a day. You could be there for 2 weeks every day.
Oh.
That's a lot of money. So yeah, it's the more I've been looking into it, the more I'm seeing that there's so many dads out there that are suffering. I mean, I'm speaking to this one guy. He's got autism, and he literally, like, he hasn't seen his kids for, I think it's like 4 years, and he's like trying to take it to court. He can't even read paperwork, and there's no one out there helping him. Like, and he's really struggling, and I'm trying to help him, but at the same time, I've got my own problems. I've got to keep my job down, which, you know, I'm trying to do good for myself, and yeah, we need support, we need help out there. Someone needs to do something. I don't know if there's anyone out there that could, like, you know, that could do this, like, could fund it or could put something together. There must be someone out there. But, you know, even there must be a celebrities, because I know that there are some celebrities that have gone through this as well. I saw something in the paper a little while ago.
There must be barristers, even judges that are retired now, that maybe they're thinking, well, yes, I can do something. You know, I can help that man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would. Well, yeah. I mean, there's got to be someone. I mean, this can't carry on, because this is going to go to the next generation. And then it's just going to end up with, like, kids that are going to just keep thinking that, like, one of their parents doesn't love them because they haven't seen them. But it's not because the parent doesn't want to see them. They want to see them, but the other parent isn't letting them. And it's horrendous.
Any last words you'd like to say, John?
Anyone out there that's going through what I'm going through, just, like, stay strong, keep your head up. And all of my friends and my family out there as well. I just want to thank everyone on Facebook, like everyone that's been messaging me, all my mates, my family, my brother, my sister, Kate, Ben, my mum and dad, Brian and Alison. Just want to thank you all for everything that you've done for me. It's been hard for all of us, but we will get there.
See that book over there, John?
Yep.
This book, get a blank bit of paper. Go on, get that book, yeah? Right, get a blank bit of, where you are, son? Turn it over, get a blank one, go to the right, that's it, get a blank bit of paper and put your name in big letters, yeah? And put it on, and then on there, yeah? Okay.
That is my name on Facebook. John Dugani, yeah? So if you need support, you need to talk about anything, contact me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you.
You need help yourself, John, as well.
I do as well, but, you know, I like to help others. It makes me feel good about myself. Yeah. It makes me feel good about my situation. If I'm making someone else smile in my dark days, it brings a smile on my face.
Okay, mate.
That's how I see it.
Okay. All right, so this is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Please press the like button and subscribe, and thanks very much. John.
Thank you very much. Speak to you guys soon.
Lovely. Turn it off, John.